I was incessantly bullied when I was young because I was so small. And when that happens to you, it engages one of your four major obstacles from youth that you carry forward in your life. One of them is your mommy issues, one of them is your daddy issues, one of them is your peer group issues, and one of them is your inner self-critic issues. Now, when you are picked on by a lot of people, it actually starts to do more than just feel like the peer group, and you then internalize it and it becomes your own narrative inside your head. Over and over again, what they say becomes something that you think about. And what you think about becomes the major imposition, the major obstacle on you just being free in your life. You write a story that teaches you your own limitations. And I did that to myself. So I was very shy. I was very introverted. I loved to actually do things and laugh and be physical and play around, well, as well as anybody. But when it came to my way of dealing with social situations, I could get very, very shy and introverted really fast. So much so that I could hear a joke in my head in school, but I couldn't say it out loud, so I would tell the joke to my friend sitting next to me, who was loud enough and full of himself enough to be able to actually say that joke out loud to the whole class, and everybody would laugh. And then he would get the credit. When the teacher liked it, then it became highly acceptable, and that kid actually became cooler. I had a hard time with that. I wasn't getting credit for my own material. One thing led to another, and I ended up being involved in theatrical situations when I was relatively young, 9, 10, 11 years old. And I got my first taste of being able to put on a character that I could address on a stage, and that wasn't me. And I became relatively good at that, or at least I felt free to do that. Now, this helped me overcome a lot of my introspective fears and concerns and obstacles. Not when I went back to school and hung out at school, but I at least understood that I could be a vibrant, exciting, comedic, energetic character when I was on a stage. It may have had something to do with the dark. The audience is in the dark, but the audience wasn't always in the dark. So it just had this feeling for me of being able to step into a different version of myself. And it was very, very valuable for me because I learned that that was something I could use regularly. Not always in my real life, but when I'm talking here now, I can be whatever version of myself I want to be. Now, I'm still quite shy and introspective in many ways. In many ways, when I go out places, I will be able to put on a character and present the bigger version of Paul. But I also know that I can shut that off and I can just sit in a corner and not reach out to people I've never met before. But with this content, with creating, with pressing play, with delivering things I care about, I know, because I've been teaching people for a long time, that you don't need to become a professional actor or a pro-level performer of any kind in order to tap into the theatrical principles that allow you to create a version of yourself that you can actually let fly and really bring it like gangbusters when you press record, like I just am doing now. One of the things I see, one of the main issues that gets in people's way, probably in your way, is that you have bought into this idea that copy-paste scripted templates can allow you to actually say things when you press record and say them well and say them clearly. And the problem with that is that aside from the fact that you're not capable of memorizing a script very well and then delivering it very well, because that is pro-level theatrical understanding of how to memorize a script and then make it seem off the cuff and natural, and you can embody that. That's hard. That's challenging. Actors work on that for years and years, and they never stop. They continue to practice. Famous people that you know who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, they have acting coaches still teaching them how to get better at this stuff. So it's decades and decades worth of study. But with these simple tools, you can abandon the idea of reading from a teleprompter or memorizing a script and having it sound stilted, stiff, slightly off, cookie cutter, bland, and worse yet, generic and boring. You don't have to do that. One of the reasons that actually, the principal reason that following a script and a template with your copy-paste information that you've written down doesn't work is this. You do not speak the way you write. You do not write the way most people, including you, speak. So when you speak what you've written, it will sound weird, because you don't actually write for the spoken word and you don't actually speak the way you write. I hope this makes sense. The idea is to actually say the stuff that's on your mind. The theatrical principles that you allow yourself to do are relatively simple exercises, but I can't describe them here because there is a journey. And that journey is actually an internal one for you based on each of the exercises that my clients, for example, get as a drip feed for them to practice. The one thing I will tell you here is that when you get out of your own way and learn to say exactly what you mean, so that you're not trying to convince people and you're not trying to be liked, and barely enough. You don't want to be barely enough. Most people's stuff isn't even barely enough. Most people's stuff is less than enough by a long shot. And you don't want to be one of those people. So, allowing yourself to embody your authentic self, coupling that with the theatrical principles that allow you to be able to bring it to that level of authenticity plus, makes you the type of person that is better than 95% of the people creating content out there. I'll say this, and I'll end this here. I think that most people put learning video last on their list of things because they think to themselves, I mean, maybe you do this too, and please let me know. They think to themselves, how hard can it be? I've been talking my entire life. All I have to do is press go and talk. Well, actually, most people don't know how to do it clearly, concisely, uniquely, with that authenticity plus, in ways that are non-formulaic, that actually allow other people to convince themselves of your value, so that they can structure something and then have what I refer to as a highly structured improv, so that they can then use live editing in real time to hear themselves and bring something worth paying attention to. When this makes sense, I want to hear from you. I want you to reach out to me. Send me your story of the situation that you are absolutely certain created the major obstacle in your life that you still carry forward to this day about being able to present. Because nobody needs to continue using scripted templates with copy-paste information that they either have to memorize or read from a teleprompter app in a shitty way that is boring and useless. No one needs to do that. You can instead go directly toward learning how to tap into the unique authenticity plus version of yourself that allows you to be able to bring it like gangbusters every time. Okay, I'll get down off my soapbox now. Let me know what you think about this. And check my other information. You can subscribe to my channel. You can pay attention to all the other info. You can get started with my low-level intro camera confidence quick start. Or you can join some of the other things that I can actually get directly in touch with you so that we can find the way to customize your journey to the most profound version of you. Speak later. Go get 'em. Yar.